Wait! Don't buy a new car until you watch this video. What if I told you that some of the most expensive high-tech cars of 2025 are breaking down more often than cheap cars from 20 years ago? Consumer Reports just released their reliability rankings, and folks, you won't believe what they found. Some cars are so unreliable that companies had to stop selling them completely. But don't worry, I'm also going to show you the cars that are basically bulletproof. And before we dive in, let me tell you why this matters more than ever. The average new car now costs over $45,000, and some of these high-tech vehicles can hit $100,000. That's more than a down payment on a house in some places. With prices this high, you can't afford to pick a car that's going to spend more time at the repair shop than in your driveway. Let's start with the bad news. The least reliable cars of 2025. Buckle up, because this might shock you. Coming in dead last is the Chevrolet Blazer EV, with a reliability score of just 5 out of 100. That's not a typo, 5 out of 100. It's so bad that GM had to temporarily stop selling it to fix the problems. Imagine buying a brand new TV, but it breaks so badly the company has to come take it back from the store. The main issues? The electronics are about as reliable as a chocolate teapot. Next up in our Hall of Shame is the Ford F-150 Hybrid, scoring a measly 7 out of 100. Now, the regular F-150 is a great truck, but add hybrid technology, and suddenly it's like trying to teach a dog to use a smartphone. Things just don't work right. The hybrid system and transmission have more issues than a celebrity relationship. One owner told me his truck spent more time at the dealer than in his driveway last year. The Mazda CX-90 Plug-in Hybrid scored 15 out of 100, which is pretty shocking for Mazda. It's like when your straight-A student suddenly brings home an F. The problems. Everything from transmission troubles to suspension issues. Remember folks, even good brands can mess up when they try something new. The Volkswagen Taos and Jetta didn't do much better, scoring 24 and 25 out of 100. They're like siblings who both got bad grades on their report cards. Owners report engine problems more often than teenagers check their phones. One owner said his check engine light comes on so often, he started using it as a night light. Now for some really interesting news about electric cars. EVs were supposed to be simpler and more reliable, right? Well, surprise. Most EVs in the survey scored worse than gas cars. Rivian, the new kid on the block, got the worst scores of any brand. Their trucks are like beautiful sculptures that keep falling apart. Pretty to look at, but you might not want to drive one. But don't worry, it's not all doom and gloom. Let's talk about the cars you can actually trust with your money. The champion of reliability for 2025 is the Subaru Forester, scoring an amazing 98 out of 100. That's like getting an A+ on every test of the year. Owners report almost zero problems, and it comes with all-wheel drive standard. Plus, there's a hybrid version coming that might make it even better. The Toyota RAV4 Hybrid and Plug-in Hybrid both scored over 80 out of 100. These SUVs are like that friend who never lets you down. Reliable, efficient, and always ready to help. Owners report great fuel economy and almost no repair issues. One owner told me he's put 150,000 miles on his RAV4 Hybrid and hasn't had a single problem. Here's a surprise. The BMW i4 is the most reliable electric car, scoring 82 out of 100. Finally, an EV that doesn't need a permanent parking spot at the service center. It's like BMW took everything they learned from their gas cars and actually made it work in an electric car. The Lexus NX is crushing it in the luxury segment with a 77 out of 100. Both the hybrid and plug-in hybrid versions are doing great. It's like Lexus looked at all the problems other luxury brands are having and said, nah, we're good. One owner compared it to her old Mercedes. She spent more on repairs in 1 year with the Mercedes than she has in 3 years with the Lexus. And let's not forget the trusty Toyota Corolla, scoring 84 out of 100. It's like the Swiss Army knife of cars. Not the fanciest, but always gets the job done. Both the regular and hybrid versions are solid choices. I talked to a taxi driver who put 400,000 miles on his Corolla with just basic maintenance. Now, here's something really interesting about brands overall. Subaru took the top spot for most reliable brand, followed by Toyota, Lexus, Mazda, Honda, and Acura. Notice something? Japanese brands are dominating the reliability charts. Meanwhile, Rivian, Cadillac, GMC, Jeep, and Volkswagen are at the bottom of the list. Do you own any of these cars? Tell me about your experience in the comments below. I especially want to hear from anyone with super high mileage on their vehicle. Here's what we've learned today. First, newer isn't always better. All these fancy new technologies are great when they work, but they're making cars more complicated and less reliable. Second, if you want a car that won't break down, Japanese brands are still your best bet. And finally, be careful with first-year models. Even good brands can have problems when they try something new. Let me share some real numbers with you. Last year, the average repair cost for unreliable vehicles in their first 3 years was over $3,500. The reliable ones, less than $900. That's like saving enough money to take a nice vacation every year just by choosing the right car. Speaking of costs, let's break down what these reliability scores really mean for your wallet. A car that scores below 30 out of 100 typically needs a major repair every 18 to 24 months. That's like having a part-time job just to pay for car repairs. But cars scoring above 80, they often go 5 to 7 years with nothing but regular maintenance. Here's another shocking fact. The least reliable cars often lose value faster than a melting ice cream cone. Take the Chevrolet Blazer EV. After just 1 year, some are worth 40% less than their original price. Meanwhile, reliable cars like the Toyota RAV4 Hybrid typically keep 70% of their value after 3 years. That's a difference of thousands of dollars when it's time to sell. Let me give you 3 quick tips from professional mechanics about buying reliable cars. 1. Always check for software updates before buying any new car, especially EVs. Mike, a dealer technician, told me some cars need updates almost every month just to work properly. 2. Test every single feature during the test drive. James, a used car inspector, says people often forget to test things like the air conditioning in winter or the heater in summer. Then they're surprised when these features don't work in the right season. 3. Look up recall information before buying. Pat, a service manager, says some of these unreliable cars have had more recalls than oil changes. You can check recalls for free on the National Highway Traffic Safety Administration website. Here's a pro tip from Tony, a master mechanic with 30 years of experience. If you're buying a new car, especially an EV or hybrid, wait at least a year after it comes out. Let other people be the beta testers, and always check owner forums before buying. If there are big problems, that's where you'll hear about them first. I also talked to Sarah, who runs a dealership service department. She told me something interesting. The cars we see most often for repairs are the ones with the newest technology. It's not just about the parts breaking. Sometimes the software just doesn't work right, and those repairs can cost thousands because you need special computers just to diagnose the problem. If this video helped you avoid buying an unreliable car, hit that like button harder than a Blazer EV hits the repair shop. Don't forget to subscribe and click the bell to get more videos about cars you can actually trust. Next week, we'll look at how much these reliability issues actually cost owners in repairs. Remember, the most expensive car isn't always the best one. Sometimes it's just the most expensive one to fix.